For my second video on the sacred mystery of the temple, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the two freestanding pillars that were in front of the door to the temple proper when Solomon built his temple, and what the significance of those pillars are, what they represent. They were called, and if you're a Freemason, you happen to be a Freemason, you'll be all over this, because they talk in Freemasonry. They're pretty focused on the symbology of these two pillars, for good reason. And so they were known as Boaz. This is the English transliteration, and Jachin, these pillars. Boaz sat on the north side. Remember that the doors, doors in beyond these pillars, and the door was facing east. So Boaz was on the north, Jachin was on the south, and just to dive straight in, they basically represented the whole masculine and the whole feminine, and the polarity between the sexes. So, and this was essential for the achievement of sacred union. And of course, if we remember that originally that there was a single being that was divided into two, into its polarity aspects of the masculine and the feminine. We talk about Adam and Eve. So these pillars represent Adam and Eve, or the masculine and the feminine. The words Boaz and Jachin, so you're sort of wondering, why don't they just call them Adam and Eve? Boaz means strength or power, and Jachin is it's hard to get an exact translation, is like that which endures, stability. Sometimes it can mean preparation. Anyway, so you basically have the characteristics of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine being expressed in these two words. So if you think about we're talking about this whole journey of sacred union being about marrying the masculine with the feminine. Now, I want people to understand that this is not something that is you can only achieve if you have a partner of the opposite sex. This whole process, the external process of the man and the woman coming together in sacred union, is actually just a metaphor of the internal process of reuniting our split consciousness, right? So obviously, when we're in this realm, in the higher realms, there is no division of consciousness, okay? So we're in the state of wholeness, and that state in the chakra system is, we know as the crown chakra, that unity mind, that unity consciousness, that awareness of being just part of the whole. So there's no schism psychologically. But once Adam and Eve partook of the fruit, we'll talk later about the deep metaphor of what was going on. It does relate also to sacred union, and them shifting the way they were practicing, basically for the sake of procreation in this realm. But it, as necessary as that might have been, it still led to a split of consciousness, which we refer to as the fall. So now we have the life force, the creative energy, residing in our lowest chakra, which is the root chakra. And that's, the idea of attaining enlightenment is to restore that, or to reunify and create a clear channel from so that the Kundalini energy, which has fallen, can reunite with the crown energy, and then we can be made spiritually whole again, undivided within ourselves. Okay, so these two pillars represent those two aspects of the power and the strength of the masculine, divine masculine, being, you think about like the God energy that can create and do everything, as opposed to stability, which is the feminine, that which creates a consistent stream of life throughout, the cosmos, that it just keeps life going. So the word for Eve is actually Chava, Chava, and you can see how that relates to life, because the word for life is, well, Chaim in the plural, but if you just say Chaya, you can see that they're quite connected. That just means to be, to exist. So stability of existence was the role of the feminine, and the divine feminine does maintain existence forever. Anyway, so now these two pillars, go back to these two pillars. Around the top of these pillars, there was an ivy motif engraved in the stone. Not ivy, lily. A lily motif engraved in the stone around the top of the freestanding pillars. Now, what the lily represents is, in fact, the Christ consciousness. Now, what are we talking about when we talk about Christ consciousness? Are we talking just about the man Christ? No, Christ, even Christians understand the name Christ was in fact a title. And he was Jesus of Nazareth. Yeshua ben Yosef was not of Nazareth, he was a Nazarene. He was not the first person to be given the title Christ. The title, a Christed one, somebody who was Christed, was somebody who had attained unity consciousness. So this is what I'm talking about, the reunion of the fallen life force, the Kundalini energy, with our highest self, and we are no longer divided. That when self-realization, complete self-realization, is the Christ consciousness, and the lily is a symbol of that consciousness. So when Christ was referred to as the lily of the valley, what that means, this is a big tell-all, what the lily of the valley means. The valley, you can replace these pillars with these symbols. The mountain is a symbol for the masculine, the divine masculine, and the valley is a symbol of the divine feminine. So the lily of the valley is, I don't even know how to draw a lily, is literally the discovery of the Christ consciousness through the journey through the divine feminine, the valley of the divine feminine. We can find our Christ consciousness through the sacred union, our journey, the union of the masculine. The masculine goes into the valley to find the lily, which is the Christ consciousness. Now, it's very interesting to me, that New Testament scripture where Jesus, Yeshua, is talking about the lilies of the valley, how they toil not, neither did they spin. Well, that's specifically talking about this state of peace that is achieved when you achieve Christ consciousness, because you then are just completely whole. There's no more stress. You understand that all things are as they are meant to be, and you're in a state of complete trust and rest, right? So that's the peace that comes, the joy of the saints, the peace of the saints that comes with achieving Christ consciousness. So when he says the lilies, they toil not, neither do they spin, he's not talking about physical labor, because even somebody who's achieved that enlightened state might still need to work to sustain themselves physically. I mean, the Buddha said, before enlightenment, carry water and chop wood. After enlightenment, carry water and chop wood. As in, life doesn't stop, but your inner state is what changes. Anyway, so this piece, so the lilies, that they toil not, neither do they spin. So it was talking about this state of inner rest. But what's funny to me is that he said Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like unto these. Now, the spelling of Solomon, I might just pause this and look it up.